Welcome to the Record Machine Show podcast. And now, here's your host, James Michael Hollenstein.
We are excited to present an exceptional show today featuring an exclusive interview with Proxy, a talented singer-songwriter from the Detroit, Michigan area. Proxy has made a significant impact in the music industry since her debut in 2021. Her passion for music shines through her unique sound, which also showcases her diverse interests as a blogger, taxidermy enthusiast, and a fan fiction writer. Proxy has carved out a niche for herself in the hyperpop genre, performing in the vibrant underground scenes of both Chicago and Detroit. But before we dive into the interview, let us enjoy one of her tracks. This one's titled Eyes. Just heard the track Eyes, and I have Proxy on the line for an interview. How you doing?
I'm good. Hi.
So where are you from?
I was born in Detroit, like Dearborn.
And that's where you are right now?
And I live in Chicago right now.
Oh, okay. Pretty cool. What made you go over there?
I didn't know what I wanted to do, like, in 2020, so I just figured I'd go to art school.
Oh, nice.
And so I just, like, moved. It got me out of my hometown, which was a plus, but, like, I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about art school and college in general, so it's just very, I don't know the word for it, but it's serendipitous.
So tell me about your musical background. When did you first get involved in music?
As a kid, I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do in life, and so my stepmom saw that I wasn't, like, sticking to anything, and she signed me up for piano lessons in a Catholic church. And so my very early memories with music were hearing my piano teacher play these, like, Revelation hymns and, like, beautiful ballads on piano, and I was like, okay, like, maybe I could do something with that in my life. And I just sort of trained myself in piano, and that was, like, my outlet for many years.
Who were some of your earliest music influences growing up?
You know, I started listening to music on my mom's iPod. Like, I just dug it out of a drawer, and then she had, like, Linkin Park on there.
Nice.
And Eminem. It was just, like, the classic 2012 zombie apocalypse soundtrack stuff. So I was really heavy into Black Veil Brides, Eminem, Linkin Park, I liked Call of Duty Ghosts, but I couldn't play because my parents didn't want me to, so I just like listened to the soundtrack, and it was all dark and heavy music up until I discovered like a renaissance for pop music in 2021. I just really started listening to a lot of pop, but before it was just like rock and rap.
Good stuff there, though. I love Linkin Park. I used to listen to them all the time. It was a shame what happened with Chester.
Do you like their new vocalist?
I think she's pretty cool, right? It's a female, right?
Yeah, she basically replaced Chester's screams with like a higher alto range, and I think it's working. Like, usually I'm really, really, really skeptical when vocalists replace former ones, like on Of Mice and Men. Their vocalist got replaced, and then Asking Alexandria, and I just stopped listening to them. But I feel like this girl, like, she's really, really good.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, do you think it's better for like a band when they replace their singer, like say like something tragic like that happens and their singer dies? Do you think it's better to replace them with someone that sounds like them or doesn't sound like them? I think better without them sounding the same.
Yeah, I think so too. I think like if you have a certain sound like you've honed and mastered for years, like it takes a lot of work especially as a group where you have like different viewpoints and perspectives to finally agree on like, hey, we need like a good tenor range scream singer to fit like our shoegaze metal, guitars and like the sound that we've developed and fostered as a group. So it's like you audition and you're not trying to replace Chester because he's honored.
Right.
But you're trying to emulate the sound that Chester helped pioneer. So, of course.
Like, I remember when I was a big Queen fan, and when Freddie Mercury passed away, they could have easily, there's like this guy named Mark Martel. He sounds just like Freddie Mercury, but they didn't choose him. They chose Adam Lambert instead, and I think it works.
I don't know much about Queen. I'm sure there's always a different reason for... sometimes it's really hard for people to work together with other people, especially after something traumatic. So it's like you want somebody that you're close with, but it may not exactly give the energy that, the person gave when they're alive.
Exactly. What's the story behind your stage name?
I've like debated keeping it over time, but I've just like grown so accustomed to it and almost attached. But it started when I was like in Dearborn. I was in my room in my mom's house, the one I grew up in, and I was just like, what do I really like? And I was like, well, I really like Slender Man, and Slender Man has like minions called Proxies, and I was like, I make like pop music for like at the time I was like a teenager, so I was like, I make pop music for teenagers who like creepypasta and that niche sort of element. And looking back, I would definitely change it. It's just like I really, really loved scary stories and storytelling, and Slenderman was a big part of that. Like in my middle school experience, like writing creepypastas and everything. So it's like that really resonated with me only because I liked storytelling. Yeah,
I remember that they had like I think it was a documentary about Slender Man, and me and my wife had watched it. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I love reading scary stories. I've always loved horror. I like the suspense element in there. Like, of course, I love romance. I love Twilight. But there's something about horror where it's like it leaves you not only wanting to hear more of the plot, but it leaves you sort of scared.
Right. Yeah, my favorite genre in movies is horror as well. I'm a big fan of the Halloween series. I love the Michael Myers character. I've been watching it for years, but there's so many other movies too. Like they have the Terrifier now, which is pretty cool. And I used to watch like Friday the 13th and Saw and all those movies. Yeah,
my first job was I worked at a Spirit Halloween, so like I really, really loved it, I guess. And every one of the people who worked there also worked at a haunted house. And Michigan has like so many different haunted houses. There's like this one. I met the guy who bought it. He bought it from the government for like $1 because it was like $2 to $4 million in repairs. And it used to be like this old insane asylum or hospital, and now it's just completely abandoned. Me and my mom used to drive past it and be like, ew.
That's cool.
And they transformed it into a haunted house. but I don't know if that's really ethical, but it was cool. I like walked through it. It's pretty cool.
Nice. How would you describe your music to someone who's never heard it before?
I take a lot of influence from, Gen Z, my generation, has like this thing where we have so much media, it's saturated. Like so many millions of songs come out a week. So it's really hard to captivate an audience by sticking to one genre. So it's like you want to like do experimental things and play around with trends. So I'd say like what my music is trying to emulate, it's evolving over time, but like it started off originally as like a DIY heavy dance influenced, but with characters, with storylines, just really, it's like nighttime music, I'd say. Like you listen to it at night, it's introspective, it's contemplative, very moody.
Mm-hmm.
It's pop essentially at its core with dance, like a heavy dance influence for the instrumental, but it really is that new sort of wave that everybody's been on where you pick and choose from a bin of different genres depending on how you feel. Like I have some songs where it's like a rock song with a lot of electronic stuff because I love guitars. I do have a band, but this is just for my solo. And then I have some songs where it's like heavily kick and drum and bass influence. So there's like a huge boomy kick, lots of bass, electronic components mostly. But when I get up on stage, it's just me capturing the energy and dancing, trying to incite a crowd. But in no way is it like instrumentalist. It's just sort of like a glorified karaoke sort of set, but it's enhanced with like visuals, stories, motifs, and stuff like that.
Awesome. This podcast features two of your tracks, Eyes and The Floor. What's the story behind those songs?
I love those songs. Like, I feel like this is the direction of which I want my sound to truly be because I've experimented with so many different things and I don't have too many people telling me what to do. Like, everything's very I produce my own music, so it's very self-directed, and sometimes I'm in an echo chamber of myself. But this time around, I really just like tried to focus on the sonic components aside from like the visuals and aesthetics. And I was like, I want to make a dance, like super, super punchy dance track and sort of like a DDR, like, arcade game melodies, but everything really revolves around the vocals. So there's a lot of, I just wanted to highlight my range with these two songs. Like Eyes goes up to like a higher register than I usually go to. Whereas The Floor, the melody's catchy as well as the vocals, and it's more breathy. I wanted to really elaborate on my breathy tone in this one. So I focused on the technicalities before really diving into like the subjective meaning behind them, because like it's so minimalist in lyricism that they're essentially, this record is one of the records I've made that really has no meaning other than interpretation. So I'd say like it just really comes from my soul, like the lyricism and what I feel at the moment. Like I have a lot of themes of being scared but also wanting to dance, right? So it's like you have a dance track but you have like this like dark deep secret looming over, like what is she talking about in the lyrics, and you may never know, so it's like one of those.
Yeah, well, I guess everyone interprets a song differently, right?
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about it. Some people think it's about one thing when it's really about something else. So I think that's pretty cool.
I feel like when artists write music, like I love just listening to brain rot, like listening to people talk about celebrity gossip. But I've been listening to this one critic who really just goes into songwriting and storytelling with like all of these like major A-list pop celebrities. And a lot of them write about their breakups. Like their breakups are a huge part of their songwriting and their album rollouts. Like they'll have like these like stage relationships, break up with them, and then have like lyrics attaining to that, Mine isn't like that. Mine isn't like breakups, but mine is more of like specific places I am in life that you'll hear in my songs. So it's like literally a diary when it comes out, and you hear that, like, you just got to really listen to it in a perspective of like, I'm trying to figure out life the first time as everyone else's.
Can you describe your typical songwriting process? Do you begin with lyrics, the melody, or something else?
Since I'm a producer and a lyricist, there's nobody who sits down at the computer with me unless I'm with my band writing with them. So it really comes from like, okay, Carly, what do you want to do today? Do you want to like play with a melody that's in your head? Do you want to make that melody into an instrument or into a vocal part? Do you want to take some... So it's just like I'm pulling from many different toolboxes. I've learned these like techniques over the years where it's like you have a lyric toolbox like in your diary where you write poems on like a train or like subway or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then you have like... And sometimes you may sit down at a songwriting session at a computer and nothing will come out of that because it's just simply not the time or place. I really think it's like a God-given merit to a lot of these songwriters that the melodies will just literally pop into your head or the lyrics will literally just pop in your head. It's like when you watch rappers freestyling, the words, either they're just repeating what they already wrote or it's like a God-given talent or it's just popping into their head and they know what to rhyme immediately. And that's exactly my process because like if I sit down and I have nothing, I'm leaving. I'm playing Minecraft.
Can you share any upcoming projects, tours, or collaborations that you're particularly excited about?
I'm excited for this album to finally drop. I feel like it's been a year since I've dropped my sophomore album. So I have like this one album and all the songs are done. They're mastered. I'm just waiting on the art. So I have no idea when that's going to come out. And once the art's done, I'm probably going to drop it within the week because I'm sort of done with doing like album rollouts, like long dragged out processes. Like I just sort of want to drop it, let people hear the music and hear back from my supporters on what they think and then move on accordingly.
Awesome. You don't have a date as to when that's going to be released yet?
I haven't recently. Like I feel like music is so imperative to just flood content. Like that's sort of like the trend right now because you have to compete and make noise with everyone else in your listener bracket. Mm-hmm. And my listener bracket is like, I'm in the range of, I'd say 5,000 to 10,000 monthly listeners. And I'm competing with all those people who are rolling out singles daily because they're some sort of animal. And I take things very, very slow. So it's like, I'm not going to create a 2-month album rollout like I did with my first record because that was 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And media's changed so much and people are making so much music and it's so, so hard to keep up with that. And every single artist feels like this FOMO when they're not releasing something. So it's like, I just want it out immediately.
Gotcha. Can you share any insights into the role of fashion or style in the music industry and how has it influenced your own image?
I feel like all of this art, it's so funny because fashion's so easy to do and it's so subjective because it's like you see these designers literally emulating a look from a homeless man. Like they're like, what's in right now? Oh, let's look on the street. This homeless person, let's create that look. And it's like, what? You know, I find fashion to be so much... Like, personally, I think it's BS because, like, you could throw on sunglasses and, like, a Roblox baggy shirt and be cool and walk outside with confidence. People would be like, oh, my God, I love your fit. And if you don't have confidence, you don't have fashion. I feel like confidence is a big part of what you wear because it's conveying how you wear it. Mm-hmm. But how that interacts with music is, I think it's, like, a loop. So it's, like, Rick Owens is in right now. People want to make music for a Rick Owens fashion walk inspired. Playboy Cardi is in right now. You want to make fashion that emulates Playboy Cardi's. So I feel like it just sort of talks back and forth to each other, like with emotions, because the arts is an emotive field of work, and everyone's trying to really hone in on getting people's attention with emotions. So it's like you could base your fashion off of music. You can base your music off of fashion. I think it's like a loop.
Yeah, I think a lot of people use fashion for their identity, right? You know, like a brand.
Yeah, the same thing as music, because it's like nobody knows who you are, and first impressions are everything, right? So it's like, why do you think people in, developing people are trying to figure out their identity through like going emo in 7th grade? It's just like they want people to see them for their interests so that they can make similar friends in a pool of people who may not. Yeah, I
seen a couple of your videos. You have quite a few of them on YouTube, And, you have some pretty cool different looks in each of the videos. So that's the reason why I brought up that question about fashion. Yeah,
it's definitive for your album. Like, what you wear on stage is a costume. You can write it off on your taxes. I have an LLC. I write it off as on my taxes as costume, but the costumes define the era. Like, I feel like Taylor Swift is such an anomaly because she really puts definitive terms on what it is to have, like, different personality changes and public image switch-ups with each album rollout, because you're essentially a product of a brand. You're like a shampoo, and each shampoo that comes out needs to have its own scent. So each album that comes out needs to have its own character, backstory, who you're dating in the terms of Taylor Swift, whatever. But I don't do that. But you know what I mean? It's just like every single part of your identity changes with each album, or it's supposed to. I don't know. That's what I do.
Outside of music, do you have any hobbies or interests?
I'm playing Minecraft right now.
Nice. What do you do that on Twitch? Is that what
I would. I just sort of like, I've been playing this Minecraft. Me and my boyfriend have like a PS5 Minecraft world that we've been building since like 3 months ago.
Okay.
So that's really the thing that brings my imagination back into the world, because I live in Chicago. It's so cold in the winter and it's so bleak, and it's so easy to like be like, what is even anything in life? What am I even trying to work for? But when you play Minecraft, it allows you to have like imagination. So that's sort of what I do. And I mean, I love being in nature, but I can't. Like, that would be my hobby, would be going to the woods every single day of my life, but I can't because I live in the middle of a city. Gotcha.
Where can the listeners go to learn more about you?
I have a website, so it's proxoxie.com, and I blog very consistently. I've been blogging, like BLOG, blogging since like 2022, November 22. So it's just been monthly, sometimes weekly. I just like write. And if you want like a more in-depth experience to my art and my world, you can read the blogs, because it's literally everything. It's like a book.
Nice. Now all your social links are up on your website as well?
Yeah, that's sort of the hub of everything, is the website.
Awesome. Is there anything you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about today?
I have a Chicago show coming up. It's on Easter weekend. It's on a Saturday, so April 19th. I'm really excited. It's in an old church, and we'll be with Quentin Hart's from San Antonio and Cyber.
Sounds interesting.
It's cool. It's like a genre mixing sort of thing. And I just recently played LA with Cyber, and it was such an honor and pleasure. And it was so nice and warm in LA.
Very cool. Well, Proxy, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really had a great time chatting with you about your life and your music. I think you're great, and I'm looking forward to hearing that album when it comes out.
Yeah, cool. I'll send it to you. Sorry. There's so much going on. Yeah, no, it was a pleasure. I really appreciate you taking the time to look into my discography.
Anytime.
We'll talk again.
All right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, all right, Prox?
All right, you too. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay.
All right, gather round, music lovers. Let's give a massive shout out to Proxy for gracing our ears and minds with her presence on the show today. But the magic doesn't end there. To properly conclude this sonic journey, we're sending you off with another gem from Proxy's repertoire, the electrifying track, The Floor.
Stashing my hands
The Record Machine Show is a weekly radio podcast produced by Jimmy Howell Productions. All rights reserved. For information regarding distribution or adding this podcast to your website, please visit our contact page at therecordmachineshow.com to submit your request. Thanks for listening. See you next time on The Record Machine Show.
The Record Machine Show.